It is now my great honor to introduce our Secretary General, António Guterres. Less than 1 year ago, Mr. Guterres, the floor is yours.
Dear friends, let me start by a brutal sentence. Either the Sustainable Development Goals are fully assumed with enlightened self-interest by the business communities, the private sector, the financial sectors, everywhere, or the Sustainable Development Goals will be a very nice exercise in diplomatic discussions in New York and maybe in some plans of some governments, but the impact on people, the impact on poverty, the impact on the planet will be extremely, extremely small. This is now an objective that can only work if the whole of society engages. And the role of the business community, the private sector, the financial sectors is absolutely crucial. Without your leadership, our project will simply fail. They say money makes the world go round. A different way of saying this is that money, in fact finance, can make or break all our carefully laid plans. We have a blueprint for peace, prosperity and dignity for all on a healthy planet, the 2030 Agenda with 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It's a roadmap for inclusive, sustainable and fair globalization. But finance is pivotal for success. The Addis Ababa Action Agenda highlights the importance of being innovative when it comes to mobilizing and accessing resources and financing for development. That includes tax reform and other governance reforms by developing countries themselves. But also international efforts to fight tax evasion, money laundering and the illicit financial flows that have depleted domestic resource bases. Much of our effort as United Nations is to make sure that we help governments around the world be able to manage, be able to attract finance, innovative finance, and be able to attract private investment in ways that allows the private investment to have a normal life in a rule of law environment. And this will be our priority. But let's be clear. When we look at Africa today, the amounts that leave Africa based on illicit flows of capital, based on money laundering, are much bigger than the whole of the official development aid to Africa. So we must have here a common effort, making governments being able to ensure good governance, rule of law, and to attract and manage adequate investments from abroad. But let's organize the international community in order to make sure that indeed tax evasion, money laundering, and international illicit flows are much more difficult than what happens today. At the same time, we must make sure that donors uphold their commitments to official development assistance. And it means to help developing countries attract innovative finance, gaining greater access to financial markets and to private investment. The world has more than enough savings to finance the 2030 Agenda. But today, those savings are not flowing in the right direction. And that is why I'm so pleased to see so many business leaders, especially from finance, in the room today. On behalf of the United Nations, I want to thank you for your support. We are doing a lot, but we need to do much more, and we can only do it with you. We saw during the global financial crisis what happens when finance loses its ethical moorings. That is why I'm championing a strategy on finance that will build on the work we are already doing together, including through the Global Compact and its 10 principles. And my strategy will focus on 3 areas. First, we will work to make the 2030 Agenda more firmly embedded into international economic and financial policy making, including by engaging with key intergovernmental platforms such as the G20. Second, our UN country teams will work harder to support countries in brokering partnerships for innovative finance and better accessing domestic and international private and public resources for sustainable development. And third, We will champion international initiatives that can harness finance for critical areas, such as closing the digital divide and climate finance. A key to success will be in innovation. We must unite public and private investors around new concepts, solutions, and instruments, and we need to do so at scale. And I'm speaking here of addressing major issues such as health, food, water, sanitation, education, women's empowerment, and of course, infra and infrastructures. And I hope this strategy will support your efforts to deliver finance for sustainability. To further enhance our efforts, we plan to host a finance summit in New York in September next year. I count on your engagement. The world has the resources to deliver the 2030 agenda. Let us organize ourselves and liberate them and deliver them to where they are most needed. Thank you very much.